Good afternoon and welcome to the next episode of Two Guys Podcast. Bradley.
Afternoon, everybody.
How are you doing? What's your name? Where'd you come from?
Well, my name's Bradley. Some people know me as Bez. Originally from Great Harwood, but born in Huddersfield. We'll talk a bit about that later on. I'm currently residing in Accrington.
Who were there?
Exactly.
It had to be done. It had to be done. So, awkward silence.
Awkward silence.
Poignant pause. As the world is turning upside down, there's been other bits in the news that Danny wants to talk about, which has caught our attention, and I think is poignant to everything that we're doing.
Definitely. It's probably common knowledge by now. I read it yesterday. I wrote a few notes here about this guy. Well, he's one of us, so he's a veteran. I'll say his name, and I apologise if I mispronounce it. He's 49-year-old. He's called Tetusi Ratu Kau. But for the purpose of this, we'll call him Ratu. I think that's easy. I don't think he'll mind that. I don't mind anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, long and short of it is, he served 10 years for this country. He deployed overseas on tours that we've done. We've worked with Fijians. We know him very well. And this guy, he's ended up needing major brain surgery for a tumour, right? And he's been living here since he got out. He got out in 2011. We're in 10 years. I think here in Loggies, by looking at the flash on his MTP, it's definitely a logger. So he's been paying our taxes, our national insurance. He's fought for this country in front of his own, which I think speaks volumes in itself. He's every day that he's in hospital as well, his current bill's 27 grand for this surgery, whereas I can't even understand why he's even getting charged. What they're saying is an illegal immigrant after doing all that for this country, and every day he's an inpatient in the hospital. They're adding another grand and a half to that bill.
What bit of the country is this in, Danny? Do we know? Is it north, south?
Hospital.
Right.
He's got a wife and 3 kids, and he's the sole breadwinner. He's been working on railway lines like a lot of Fijian lads do, or a lot of ex-forces do, don't they?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to highlight it and just apologise, really. If he's watching, I know who knows him watching. I just want to apologise and say how collectively how ashamed we are of this country and the way you've been treated.
Yeah.
Apparently, Johnny Mercer's, he's aware of it, he's on it. So, but he said a lot of things and hasn't done them so far. But I think with this one, it'll push it through Parliament quick and it should get sorted.
I think a lot of people don't even know, do they, that we have lads come over from Fiji, serve this country, and then once the time is done, they're told, see you in a bit, bye-bye, that's it.
Yeah.
They have to apply for status, don't they, for residency? Yeah. But that in itself costs thousands of pounds, and they're being ill-informed when they're in, because they're presuming they can stay here, which I would, anybody would.
Yeah.
But apparently it's that complicated and long-winded, costs thousands of pounds, and has been classified as an illegal immigrant, which is it's a disgrace.
And that's it as well. I would just want to put out there, it's not a case of just come from another country and join our army and then you'll get status and everything like that and you can live here. You've still got to pass the tests. You've still got to go through training. You've still got to go through everything that we went through to get the tick in the box. You could still, do you get what I mean? Lads could still join and then get refused.
Yeah.
You know,
sometimes the lads will come from because in my old platoon in army, I had a lot of Fijian boys and that, and sometimes the lads will come from the other side of the world, and for a large period of time they'll have to leave their families behind. Yeah. So they're making a huge commitment, you know, to our country. You know what I mean? I think it's the least that we can do. It's just my opinion. I think it's the least that we can do as a nation is to offer them, you know, somewhere to live at the end of the service, and particularly if they fall on hard times, then as much help and support as we do in other areas as a country. You know what I mean? I think it's the least we can do.
I don't want to go. Yeah, I don't want to go too political. Sorry to cut you off, Danny, but it's almost the same as if we're asking other doctors and nurses before the epidemic and or pandemic, whatever. If you come and work for our NHS after 20, or you get to retirement age, you can stay here. You've been a doctor or a nurse here forever. Why can't you stay?
An asset to the country. And I think, well, they're putting their lives on the line as well. We lost Rocco and Taggy, God bless them.
Yeah.
Fought for this country. And how dare they be treated like that? It's absolutely disgusting. I'm so ashamed.
No, you're definitely right to highlight it, Danny.
But anyway, that's my rant over.
No, that's fine. I agree with you.
So Bezel. Start us off with the little Bezel.
The little Bezel. I was born in Huddersfield, but my mum, my birth mother at the time, she was only young. She was only 16. So she in that era, so like in the 70s, because I'm nearly 45, it wasn't socially acceptable to be at school and be pregnant, sort of thing, in that area. So I was given up for adoption, and I was about 9 to 10 weeks old. So I was absolutely oblivious, none the wiser, and I was adopted by who I refer to as my mum and dad, and you know, still to this day, and because I didn't find out till I was about 12, but we'll come to that I was adopted later on.
Yeah.
Childhood, normal working family in Great Harwood. It's like one of the satellite towns of Blackburn, similar to Burnley, lots of terraced houses, or the old industrial scene, lot of legacy from that, and dinosaur building sort of thing.
Yeah.
I was an angry child, quite a very angry child for some reason, and I never knew why. It was like there was always something like burning in the background, and I think that was because I was adopted. But like I said, it was hinted at but not confirmed till I was 11, and the feelings were like, you know, how could my mum, you know, because I didn't know the background, her age, all that sort of stuff, and you know, how could she like give me up? I was a little terror in school, absolute little terror, always getting in trouble through silly things. Academically, I was all right. Academically, I was all right, but I was more interested in playing football. Now, funnily enough, my dad wasn't a football fan. I loved football. Yeah. So my Uncle Terry, when I was about 8, he was a massive Burnley fan. Went to all the games, all that sort of stuff. He had the bloody flat cap. Go on, Terry. And he said to me, because I was sort of, it was like Liverpool was a team then that, you know, with the Dalglish and all that, and you know, the FA Cup final was like that big day on TV, wasn't it? So I was sort of like in the loose sense a Liverpool fan. But anyway, he got me going to Burnley, and I went there for 2 seasons. I had the scarf, the programmes. What was the cup win where they beat Wolves?
Coca-Cola, milk.
Yeah, Coca-Cola, milk, ties, the Shreddies Cup, whatever it was called at the time. So I had that flat cap, and I used to sit in Was it the cricket field? So you had Longside there.
Yeah.
Or was it the Bob Lord? Like, was it cricket field, Bob Lord, and then Longside?
That was the first one.
Yeah. And you had, when I looked across, you had old loonies. You had old loonies like right across from us, and there was like a fence, and it was all open, and they used to climb up the fence to attack their fans. And I'm like that, about 9-year-old going like that sort of thing.
What did you do?
They were lunatics, like because they had a big reputation, didn't they, at that time, Burnley? So, but my Uncle Terry got cancer, and he died. So that was sort of my link to football. Going to games was cut off, but I was mad keen to go. So my mate was a staunch Blackburn Rovers fan. I knew the history between both clubs, and he said, "Do you want to come to a Rovers game?" And I said, "Right, I'll go to one game, that's it."
Do you remember who it was against?
Ipswich.
Wow.
And they got beat. Rovers got beat 2-1. And I liked that buzz of the match day again, you know, and chanting. Yeah, because Rovers then were the same as all the grounds. They didn't have seating, it was just the steps with bar. And when your team scored, you'd start at back, and it didn't matter if you're a kid, they'd just push you right to the front. You'd end up in a different stand or something, wouldn't you?
Like, Bez, what I got the feeling when I first ever went to a game, how can there be so many people here into exactly the same thing as me?
Yeah.
And you can get that kind of, like the mass hysteria, using one of your words. Like why people go to church. You know, there's obviously a lot of other reasons why people go to church.
Same.
But
words and stuff.
Yeah, but
like, as a kid, you're like, wow.
Yeah, why people go to gigs?
Fucking pints, binds.
You know, you're safe well in that environment because you're all in it together.
Yeah, exactly. So, but at this time, like I said, I was still young, but I was always taught, because I remember I said I had that bit of a rage thing going on, and I was always taught that I couldn't fight. I was not allowed to fight. So somebody clumped me, I just had to stand there, and I actually got, when I was a kid, I got put in hospital. Like I got jumped by about 10 guys, sort of thing. Like got head stamped on, all that sort of stuff. And after that, my dad, and he was a brilliant bloke, my dad, he turned around and he said, "Right, you're unleashed now. If somebody, like, you don't go around hitting people, but if somebody hits you, you can fight back." And I think that, and I started a little bit into martial arts world then as well. And I think that sort of helped to sort of like quell the rage a little bit. And then when I got that confirmation that I was adopted, there was still a rage there and a fire, but it was more like a questioning process then. What do they look like? Do I have any brothers and sisters? All that sort of stuff. Yeah. But a thing that my dad taught me to do from an early age was, if something's really bothering you, he said he had like this little dude in his head, like a library for information, but if something's bothering you, to put it in a box, lock that box and take it to the back of your mind, and only ever open that box when you need to, or if you want to, when you're comfortable where you sit. It's sort of like, I mean, obviously you're like into counselling. I don't know what your take would be on that, Danny, but it was sort of like shielding emotions. So not like masking it, keeping it at the forefront of your mind, but like not burying it, but you know it's there, but it's like in a secure box.
You're being in control, aren't you? You're not letting it control you.
Well, yeah. Not dealing with it though. That's my issue with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no, I totally like get that point. I think that, yeah, 100%, because at that age I couldn't really deal with it, because you obviously come up to puberty and there's all that whirling through your body as well.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like to put it to one side. You know, and we've seen different when we've worked with kids. You know, when we've worked together, you know, in the football side, working in the schools, that there's better ways of doing business, you know, to actually help somebody you know, understand things and you know, sort of like go on a journey, you know, on a better path.
Do you know when you got told, Bez, when you got the confirmation, we're not your birth mum and dad?
Yeah.
You have the, like you've just said, you had the confusion, the upset, the questions.
Yeah.
Did you love your mum and dad any more now, knowing these have took me on?
Yeah, 100%. And it's, I like know that you don't have to be blood related now to feel that bond.
Yeah.
And that love sort of thing. That these are two people that my mum couldn't get pregnant. So but prior to that, they'd fostered children as well. So they're always into, you know, like helping children, that sort of stuff. Then they decided, right, we want a child sort of thing. And if there hadn't been hints and I hadn't been told, I'd never have known, because I had such like a loving upbringing sort of thing. And we didn't have a lot of money, but my dad had always go out of his way. Like all my mates had rally bikes and all that sort of stuff. Mum and dad couldn't afford one. So my dad went to scrap yard and he got all bits from bikes, and he spent like all night rebuilding a bike from a skeleton, all different bits. He'd have like a grifter seat on, a rally front wheel, whatever. You know what I mean? And he sprayed it, he sanded it all down, all that sort of stuff, and it looked really smart. You know what I mean? So I never wanted for anything. I didn't have all the top names. Like I remember you going to school, you know, we what you had to wear, and I were very similar. I got a blazer for first year, for fifth year, to run through it, like a wedding dress at the beginning. It was that long. And I remember going to Tommy Bowles and I wanted some Adidas. Yeah. Tommy Bowles sacks, yeah, and I wanted some Adidas Samba. Not a chance on this planet. So I got some Itex instead, Silver Shads. We get very familiar with, do you know what I mean? So they always, you know, tried to, you know, get me, you know, what I needed, and were always there to support me and, you know, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say all in all, aside from being a little troubled turd myself, I had like the support was there in the background. Just sometimes I thought that I knew best, which obviously I didn't, or chose to like push against it, sort of thing. You know what I mean? I played chess for Lancashire. What's that all about? Do you know?
Really?
But you wouldn't think, would you? Yeah. I've got a chess. Yeah, I've got a chessboard in there. Now the background behind that was that my dad taught me to play chess early doors. I think it was about 5 or 6. And by the time I was 7, I could beat him. And I liked it because I worked out that I could think ahead like 2 moves. And as long as you can, you know, with each piece, like think, defense, attack, all that sort of stuff. And I started off at high school playing, but I only played because it was full of like the cornheads, the set ones, you know, all the intelligent people, and then you have me tipping up from set 4. Now, my thought process was that if you were in chess clubs, I wanted to play footy, you got like an early lunch pass,
right?
Yeah. So you go straight to the front at queue, I'd whip upstairs, have a quick game of chess, and off playing football. But they couldn't.
You're already thinking another stage ahead.
Yeah. But the teachers couldn't understand it. So then I ended up playing for Harwood, playing for school. We went. You'd have boards. You'd have like the kingpin. The king was like board 1, board 4, and you go around like old school, St Augustine's, and you'd play the mirror, you know, board player. And I just found it really easy. And then when you played for Harwood, you had little clocks. And you had to write down all your moves, that sort of stuff. But again, I found it easy, and then I ended up playing a few games to Lancashire, which nobody ever believes me. But it worked. Fast forwarding a little bit to come back, it worked at Advantage once. We're in Ireland, and we're up on towers, and you know what it's like with inspections. Yeah. And there was this OC, and I won't say his proper name, but he called Sydney Spider. Yeah, you might know him. Yeah, and he was a nightmare winning, right? and he come up. So, but he loved chess.
Is this
Right?
4-kill?
4-kill, yeah.
Yeah.
And he, with little Tatty as his
Yeah.
wingman, and he loved chess. So Tops, the gaffer up there, would say, "It's a right, Bez. Play him at chess. Play him 3 games. Let him beat you first game, right?" So we come up, there'd be all them bluffing, China cups out, and dodgy biscuits and all that. And I'd have a chessboard set out. And as soon as he come in, I'd say, "Oh, how long you up here for?" I'd say, "Do you fancy a game of chess?" "Oh, yeah. So play it first game, let him win, but just make it close." And I'd say, "Come on, we've got to have best of 2, and I'd whip him next game." All that sort of stuff. And so he'd get really frustrated because he's obviously really educated. And so then we'd have the final game, but I'd drag it out because they'd be like, "Right, what time's his chopper coming?" "It's coming at 4. So I'd drag it out to about 5 to 4 and then whip him again. So then he'd have to go. So next time he wouldn't be interested in seeing if the grass were painted or
thrash you.
He'd want to get his revenge. Yeah, so it did actually come in handy later on in life. But yeah, but I only played it to get in early to go and play football. But it absolutely worked to train.
Yeah, you give us an insight there that you've had an early tactical brain, and as well, like saying your dad, rightly or wrongly, the methods that he used. You think he's trying to teach you? I don't want to use Jedi, but he's trying to teach you to be mentally resilient.
Yeah, 100%. Not knowing at the time, but obviously, like looking back on it as an adult, that I think that was his way of like subtly, rightly or wrongly, trying to, like you said, toughen up to the world a bit, be a bit be a bit more like that mental resilience sort of thing, because he was very keen for me to be independent, like starting your paper rounds early doors as a young kid. We'd never do it as parents in this day and age. Send an 11-year-old up at 6 in the morning in winter down a dodgy lane at Borley Scout Camp, delivering papers to this like haunted house at the bottom of it. We'd never do it, would we?
No.
You know what I mean? Because you
learn the value of money though in them days.
Yeah, he was massive, my dad, on that. He and that's the thing that I think is not in all areas, but in a lot of the younger generation now, they don't understand the value of money or hard work. And my dad always said to me, excuse me, he said, "Work hard, move up the hill." So there's always something better at the top of the hill, but you've got to work for it. It won't come free. There's some jobs, like you could get a prison term with that some things do come free, but for the rest of the world, you have to work hard, don't you? Yeah. And never give up on something. Get yourself even a little thing, like I seen this. I'll plug here, Pentathlon Sports. It doesn't exist now. Little sports shop used to be in Great Harwood, and there was an Adidas Originals T-shirt in Linden, and it was like $9.99 or something. Again, I said, "Can I have that, Daddy?" He went, "Nah, it's too much, son." So I saved up, literally, doing odd jobs, and it was then when if you got 10p, you had 10p tray for sweets, 10p for a lot of money. And it took me ages, about 8 months. And I remember how proud I felt and going into the shop. And I said, I want that one. I'm like,
yeah.
And the guy looked at me and he was like, "Yeah, right. It's like a £10 Adidas original top." And I'm getting out my 3s, my 2s, my 1s and all that. And he's having it, he'd take it all away and it was there. And it was, I thought, yeah, my dad's right. You can get something. It might take a long time, but you just, if you work hard and sometimes do jobs that, you may not like doing, but there's a means to the end sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Good
So,
work, actually.
Yeah, good core values, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%.
Right, so we've gone, Bez's, how did you get on it with your GCSE? Because you said you were academic, so how did you get on towards latter stages of school, and what did you do after that?
high school, towards the latter end, I started off on a bit of a sticky wicket, probably with my reports, because when my reports were going on in old money, year 4 and 5, year 10 and 11 now, it used to be, you know, like now, like you can really keep an eye on your kids. They send you like an email and all that, and then send a letter. Well, back then it was just like a little checkbook, and it'd say history, and they'd write your grades and all that. So I became, that's when I started my illusions early doors. I used to try and change the D's from a B. Like that.
We've all done it.
But it didn't quite match up to writing.
No.
So my dad got, So I left school with 3 GCSEs, geography, history, and business studies, but like scrape C sort of thing. A lot of the exams, I was just sat there because I was a bit interested in army then. I'd always like, you know, like getting with sticks and that, playing soldiers and you know, seeing adverts on TV, all that sort of stuff. So I didn't really leave school with anything creditable. I know I could have done better, but that were my choices at the time. And I'd applied to go to catering college, which was on Blackburn Road in Accy. And the only reason I decided to go there, because the ratio boys to girls was a lot higher. So all my mates were going to Sandy Lane, doing like public services, all that business. Where I went, it was caterers, nursery nurses, art students, and I thought, let's go to Blackburn Road to enhance my catering career. Because my mum had like a little sideline then, like a catering business, so she'd do like buffets and wedding cakes, and she'd tag me along. So I sort of had an insight into it, but I'll be honest, it was because there was lots of girls there. So yeah, but it's this thing called fate. I'm a massive believer in fate, that like what you touched on, that the people that you meet, you're destined to meet them, and if you like unknowingly swerve that a little bit, it's like Final Destination, you know, with death's after you, you're gonna meet it. Doesn't matter how you try and move or where you go or your choices, you're gonna end up meeting that person. And I met Nicola, and she'll become more apparent later on in the interview. But the first time I met her, we're at school. She was in my school, she was a year below me, but I were obviously playing chess and stuff and football, so I didn't really like get to see her in school. But I had my mate's Damon's, and we were babysitting, and we'd been on, you know, it's like at that age with 2020, all that sort of stuff. So we were a bit kettled, and we heard this kerfuffle go on.
What was your favourite colour?
Any.
Blue one, you bastard.
Any. And we heard this like kerfuffle, commotion going on next door. So we went outside, and Nicola's boyfriend at the time was having like an head wobble, so he was kicking off, and she was outside, and I seen her, and I was like, oh, I like her. You know, like when you're like starstruck straight away. Yeah. And I just started talking to him. There's like a little weird connection then, but it was.
How old are you, mate? Sorry to jump in.
About 34. No, we're joking. No, I was probably about 15. Right. 15
okay. Yeah.
and a half. So that moment was only about 5 minutes, because she was waiting for a taxi, and I just said to her, I said, is he doing your head in? And she went, yeah. I said, right, I'll stand here. You'll be all right with me. I'll make sure you get a taxi, sort of thing. And off she went. So fast forward a year later, I'm at college. I don't know she's there, because I've been sent off. We like on a 12-week placement where you do a bit of work in an hotel, cooking, all that sort of business. And her best mate at college at the time lived in Harewood, right corner from me. And I got off Ironman Circular, and she collared me, and she went, when are you back at college? I went, why asking? She went, oh, Nicola Hyatt's been asking about you. I said, well, you know. I said, well, I'm back up. I said, I'm back on Monday. And apparently she'd been waiting on steps, you know, for a few weeks for me to step up. And we mega hit it off straight away, and you know, I like really got on. Used to walk her home. Because she was a nursery nurse, so I used to sneak onto the middle floor, and they had the glass windows, you know, but above, and I used to my mate used to pulling faces and then getting chased off teeth, you know, like embarrassing her, that sort of. And then. And so I'm moving towards 17, and then she left. This is the day before Facebook, mobile phones. You know, these are the days if you wanted to listen to Top 40, you go to Red Phone Box, put your 10p in, dial, and get your Woolworths. Woolworths would do Top 40, wouldn't they, for 10p? So you couldn't. It's not like if you lost contact with somebody now, you find them on Facebook or another social media platform.
Yeah.
So you're just interested in each other. You've not gone out or anything.
Oh, we gone out. We kissed and all that sort of stuff, and then she just disappeared, right. like I did on other day, but without a blanket. She just never. Yeah, she never turned up again. And at that stage, I'd been kicked out of home because of my behaviour. So I was only like 16 and a half. So I was living with my cousin, and I was going to college. I was finishing college. I was doing waiting on gigs and stuff like that, cashing out $250. And it was at that sort of stage where you get, so I'd always been on about the army, but you get sucked into those posters and, you know, £200 a week, £150 a week, all your sports, you know, you play football all day, do nothing else. So I thought, right. And I was getting I won't say a reputation, but getting in with wrong type of people. Do you know what I mean? People that broke into schools, high schools, and stole, you know, TV equipment and stuff like that, and breaking into shops and what have you. And that wasn't me. That was the people I associated with. So I thought, I've got a choice here. I can either get away from it all, and you know, because I weren't living at home at that point, or sort of get sucked down that path. So Nicola's disappeared. Gone. I've decided, booked it, packed it, off she goes. And I've decided, right, I'm gonna, you know, join the army. And it was one of them where you get, you know, you told the tale yourself, you go and you do all your tests and all that, and they pump out this list, blah, 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 like that, and they say, right, what do you want to do? And I said, anything, as long as I can get in, you know, ASP sort of thing. So they said, well, you can either join Paras or Queen's Lancashire Regiment. Because we're too tall for the Scots Guards. I don't know what that were all about.
The wrong shape head.
I've got a corn head, haven't I? And I think the hat were bigger than me in Guards, weren't it? So off I went. You know, did all my training. Pardon?
What year is it?
1993. So did all my training. Enjoy, you know, it's a long time ago, isn't it? Enjoyed it, because I went with that mindset, because everybody was saying, you ain't gonna last 2 minutes if somebody starts shouting, blah blah. But I'd already got my game plan, and I thought I was prepared that people were going to shout, you were going to get messed about, and I'd done my little bit of research on infantry. I thought I was quite fit. I'd run for school. I weren't a Thomas the Tank Engine then with cigarettes and stuff. So, you know, I played a lot of football, so I'm quite fit. And just kept my head down, really. And got.
Where was your phase one? Was it all together phase 1, 2, or was it divided?
Divided. Phase 1 were up at Glencoe.
Yeah.
And I tipped up Jesus. I had these purple Matalan pants on, some dodgy black shoes, a dodgy coat. I had my hair all sweat. I really, when I had so all sweat back like that. I had a bloody earring in. I got dragged over at Coles for that, and they called me because of that, when we went in the chamber, when they're testing you how you react to, for people that don't know, it's like not laughing gas, tear gas.
No.
So how you respond to no, it's not laughing gas like that. And they made me stand on a box singing Bros songs when will I be famous, because I'm hearing me famous like
I can't answer that. Oh, we'll get done.
So yeah, so I got through all that and did it, sort of thing. Second part was at Strensall, so I got on good terms with my mum and dad again. And my dad had said to me, I'm having a bad day up at Glencore. I said, right, because I was only 17, and I'd had enough that day. And then if you were 18, you could get out, couldn't you?
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd have to do 2 weeks or whatever. And I phoned my dad up and I said, Dad, I've had a bad day here, I want to come home. He said, no bother. He said, I'll come and pick you up. So wherever up in Scotland. He said, but you're not coming home again. You know what I mean? He said, you've made your bed, now lie in it. And I think if he hadn't said that to me, I would have got out to army. And it was him saying that to me, and I thought, yeah, I'm just having a bad day here. Do you know what I mean? I need to go away, sort my head out, give it a wobble, and then go again, sort of thing. So I've done all that, Strensall, and this is when I seen Nicola again. So I'm ready to go. This is weird, isn't it? I'm ready to go to Berlin. Now, the reason I've chose Berlin, because when I rewind back in Glencore, he said, where are you from, you? I said, Huddersfield. Where you born? He said, right, Duke of Wellington's, okie dokie. Right. So I then found out that if I'd have stayed at Duke of Wellington's and I finished my training, I'd have gone straight to Northern Ireland, no Christmas leave. Queen's Lancashire Regiment were having Christmas leave, so I'd have had Christmas leave and gone to Berlin. I thought I liked the sound of that. So I went in after about 6 weeks and swapped berries.
Wow,
so,
never knew that.
Yeah, so at first, you know, when you march on to square, you do your drill and you take your tab off, you get your berry. I was a Duke of Wellington, mate. And it was only because I wanted a Christmas.
Hat.
Yeah. So anyway, I've done all my training. I'm in this nightclub in Accrington. One of the mates went, oh, that Nicola Wyatt's in. So go and see her. So like she come over, we had a little bit of a chat sort of thing. But I said I'm off to Germany in a week's time. So obviously then that was again us separating. So I'm age-wise, I'm 18 at this stage, and off I went to Berlin. Go past that, because I was quite like naive of what to expect, sort of thing in Berlin, but it's a different world there, an absolute different world. They won't get away with it. Not a chance. Not a bloody chance.
Was Trev having parties? It's not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Private Bezel's just rocked up at the first BN. And you did quite a long time, didn't you, overall? Tell us a bit about
that. Quite like what, in the army?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. 23 years. When I got there to Berlin, I was originally assigned to A Company, which was a rifle platoon. First question they ask you, because Derby Cup football is like an army football competition. Do you play football? And I went, yeah. They said, right, you're in the team, sort of thing. And I had a bloody nightmare. First game against C Company, 2 own goals I scored. I think I was trying too hard. One were an header, straight in like that. Keeper were going nuts. And then second one, I slid in. And if I'd have been a striker, it'd have been amazing. And it like spun off and went in. So I didn't play any more games on that one. I got dropped on that. Fond memories of Berlin was being put on 6 and 10, which is like a punishment. within 2 hours, I was sat in my room, and I had an earring in. And it was Saturday, and Sergeant Major at Bossy come in, and he went nuts. He went, "What are you doing, blah, 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 gypsy boy?" So I had to go on 6 and 10, showing me earrings highly bold.
Really?
Like, yes, I told me earring out like that and say I'm 250, blah, blah, blah. So Berlin were only short-lived. We were only there for about 9 months. No interest in being like moving up.
Yeah, just enjoy being a bod.
Yeah.
More interested in girls and sunbathing, to be honest, in Berlin, and drinking. It was huge drinking culture. You could have like a pint at dinner time. I didn't get it, mate. Pint at dinner time, and then go and do like first aid or something. Do you know what's that all about? What's that all about? I'm only 18. What's going on here?
Big culture shock then.
But it taught me that, and because the army's so much different now, that you had to be. You didn't have a lot of good mentors at that time. There was quite a lot of heavy-handed people that were higher up, and it was sort of like a survival zone. Whereas I remember when we tipped up, there was 4 of us, and the guys that had been there like 8 weeks were buzzing because it meant somebody else to do block jobs, and they'd be like. Yeah, people getting you up at 2 in the morning saying, right, go to shop, go and get me a pizza and take your own money and give me change.
Yeah, come back with the change, yeah.
Like the change, and you're like, what? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so it's quite an interesting culture. So we moved from Berlin and went to Tidworth, and I joined Mortars, but another one of my little scams, because they were told, right, Sergeant Major come up, he said, right, such and such are going to Milan, such and such are going to Mortars, and you've no choice in the matter. I loved it.
Yeah, which is a platoon, not a place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly when I said to my dad, he said, Italy will be great. Or if you go to other one, you can come and have a look at Carburettor. I said, no, it's not that Mortars and not that Milan, it's different things, Dad. Anyway, so I was trying my best to get out of it, but it were happening. And I was originally on the Milan course. That started a week or 2 weeks before. So me and a lad called Bobby Eater, and he were in the same boat. We sneaked down into Sergeant Major's office during, right, as private soldiers, and the lists were in pencil. So we rubbed out our names and then swapped them round. So we ended up being in Mortars, yeah. But the idea was it gave us 2 weeks longer, to try and get out to go in. So we watched all like Milan, which is like the missile system that the tanks, for those you don't know, they're all getting like run up and down and all that sort of stuff. But Mortars felt at home because when we got down there, the first thing like the guy said was, listen, if you don't want to be here, go back to your companies. And I kind of like that. Because in a world where choice is restricted, you're all to do everything all the time. We're actually given a little bit of choice. You know what I mean?
A bit of ownership.
And like, yeah, a bit of ownership, and nobody moves. So that was me career in Mortars that started, sort of thing. And we were due. So Tidworth again weren't a long time. That's where I met my first wife, Claire. And we're off to Germany, so we literally from like meeting each other to just say Germany then.
Yeah.
I didn't. I've got Germany on brain. See, to move into Northern Ireland, we'd only been like together 6 months. Yeah, on that they are, aren't they? Yeah. Look, they're not that fair if you look on there. Only 6 pence away, that, isn't it? So we'd ended up from like literally meeting each other to getting married within about 6 months, because I was young and didn't really understand the concept of marriage.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I was used to, yeah. And so at 21, I was in Northern Ireland and I was married. I had a flat. And it was great at first because everybody wants to move out of the block, don't they? Yeah, get this big house sort of thing. But yeah, I didn't really understand what being married was sort of thing, and we were in Ireland in Ormer. We were like, you guys.
Oh,
In Ormer, weren't you?
hey,
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
yeah, you just need to warm your hamster up.
So in Ormer, it was, you were sort of like onto a routine where you'd be spending a lot of time away, you know, doing different tasks and stuff. And then an NCO's card popped up, and because I was married, I wanted more money. It wasn't because I wanted to be a boss around. I wanted that bit more money sort of thing, because you know yourselves, once you get a partner, you get married, that sort of thing, you need more finances because you need more things, don't you? So I did all right on that. I come third on it, but got med up straight away. So I was literally, what would it be then? 21. I was like in charge of a brick, which is 4 dudes in Northern Ireland. But that was quite daunting, that, because I thought, hang on a minute, we're not like in a safe environment like in training where if something goes wrong, it's just a simulated effect.
Yeah.
I've got 3 people that I need to look after here, and they're like looking to me for, for that guidance and what's going on sort of thing. So that was quite daunting. But I got the opportunity in Ormer. They said, right, within 6 months of being like that first one, they said, do you want to go away and do a promotional course? So they were Brecon, and they were like the motor course. Well, because I was still fresh off, I was fit and had all the stuff in my head from my course before. There was me and a lad called Tally. I don't know if you remember him from Blackpool.
So
yeah, like a medicine. He looked like Mr. Spoon off Button Moon. Big head like that. Anyway, so I said, right, well, I'll go and do the Brecon course, and because I explained, and he said, I'll do motors. So in good old army fashion, they said, right, to me, you're going to do motors.
Yeah.
You're going to Brecon. So he lasted a day at Brecon, got fired off because he just weren't prepared. I had Daz Morris. Yeah. He did my pre-course, but bless him, he were in a rush. So he taught me computer wrong, so I had a right nightmare on first day. And I was told, right, you're a risk student. I was like that, okay. But I got through it, I passed it. But there's a gentleman on there that was doing the course up from me, a Scottish fella. And we're on an appointment together. So we had something to do. And me and him had a bit of a fallout. And it'd become more apparent later on down the line. So we had a fallout, but that was it. He was on his sergeant's course, I was on my course sort of thing, but I weren't fussed. I'll never see the guy again. So I passed that, but it weren't a great pass, but by no means. So I literally come back, and I was promoted within 3 months. So I've gone from a private soldier to a full corporal in less than a year. And that's,
yeah.
Then you have more guys, and it's I think that process now, looking back on it, is too short a time, because you haven't learned your trade sort of thing. So I'm walking around, I'm a full corporal, I'm an MFC, all that sort of stuff. I've got these guys, but I still haven't learnt my trade. Like passing your driving test, and then being said, right, you're a chauffeur for whoever, do you know what I mean? Or you're driving an Arctic. Yeah, it's just too.
Yeah, me and Danny touched on it a couple of weeks ago, and we're saying now, you've gone through the stages, you've passed army training, so you're hard. Corporal, so you're like a little bit harder,
Yeah.
No, you're a double hard bastard and you're bulletproof. You know,
Yeah.
you've got this bravado that comes with it.
Oh yeah, 100%. And so like, what dwell too much on Northern Ireland? Obviously, I mean, you guys touched on it, but like the bomb went off, and that was sort of like the first like surreal time where, you know, like something's not. Is that just actually happened, sort of thing?
Yeah, we're not
Like,
like
we weren't. My multiple weren't in the town. We were in one of the satellite bases, but we were listening to on the radios and sort of stuff, and you could hear the boom, and apparently the windows on the pads houses shook, and you know, because it was that, you know, vicious an explosion. And then obviously you guys touched on that on the bubble gym, and it was like wow, it's real, this. Do you know what I mean? So that
Bez, was that your first experience of real army work?
Yeah, 100%. Because before that, and with being a corporal at that time, do you know what I mean? It was like you're like expected more from you, sort of thing. But I'd only been a private soldier, you know, like months before, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it was a game changer in the sense, because you get, you know, like prior to that, you'd have like the Gulf conflict and the Falklands, things like that. But it was kind of classed that in the army you'd never really go anywhere that was trouble, sort of thing. And there'd been guys before us, so the old soldiers, that had one medal, and they were like, "Wow, he's got a medal! He's got a medal!" Do you know what I mean? Whereas now you've got like Kenny Everett cutting about. It's been that's been in 4 years. Because they've been everywhere. They've been all these places.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was an eye opener. So we left there and we went to Catterick, and I went. This was just before the battalion's first tour of Iraq, sort of thing, and I've gone and done my sergeant's course. Did well on that. Didn't do amazing. Didn't do rubbish. Like the bottom of like the top third, sort of thing. But on the first day, you'll love this. I'm sat there with a guy you remember, Sam Batty.
Yeah.
So he's a legend, isn't he? So we've done all the tests. We're like that, and there's 2 squads, right? So like we're umming and ahhing which squad we're going to be in, and the 2 instructors walked out, SASC instructors, which is like teachers of the army, for those who don't know. One of them's this sergeant that had fallen out with on the I went I wish I had that blanket. I went like that in my chair. And I said to Sam, I said, if I get him on games, he went, Sergeant Beresford. He was Welsh. He went, if I get you in my section, he said, it's index for you, boyo. I was like, oh God, start your engine, Sam, we're out of here. But I got put in the other Pago, it was called, in his section. Well, it is class sort of thing. And I hit it off with him straight away, because I used to take in DVDs and music discs and things like that. Original. Yeah, all legitimate ones, all original ones.
Yeah.
They've been in family for years. Yeah, they've been in family for years. We were fed up listening to Rod Stewart and all that sort of stuff. So I thought I'd sell them on, sort of thing. At a small, you know, donation, sort of thing. So I used to have a list like that. And the first day, you know, when you're meeting everybody and there's all people from different places, I said, right, lads, I said, here's a list. There's films and, you know, action films, blueies, music. And they're only like $2.50 a go, sort of thing. Yeah. And this Pago, he was like, what's going on there? And I was like, do you like any of these? He was a massive Proclaimers fan, right? He clocked. He said, he was Scottish as well, Scottish Welsh. He went, Sergeant Beresford. He said, can you get me Proclaimers on tour at Edinburgh? I went, see what we can do. I said, but because it's you, free sort of thing. So I got him like the greatest hits. It's like, I think it's, I would walk 500 miles, I would walk 500 miles live, I would walk 500 miles acoustic. That one. That's the only song that they did, innit? That's it. So I got him.
Take a look at the real track.
Yeah.
The message from
Yeah, but he loved it. So like I was sort of in, he sort of shielded me a bit from this Mackie sort of thing. And so I got through that. But the good thing was at the end of the course that Mackie come up to me and
Hamster.
that was good. Are we froze? Are we in? We're back in.
All right.
So then we go into the first Iraq, and I got George called me and Carlin. And he said, right, you're both promoted to sergeant. I was like, right, okay, we've been called in from off the area. And we're like, oh my God, so he's 21, he's a sergeant. I'm 24, just gone 24. And we're like, oh my God, we're going to Iraq and we've actually now got a multiple, you know what I mean? Or potentially 3 multiples. And you guys know what it like. We were like, I was literally shopping in Tesco in Catchick. Yeah. And I got a phone call, right, be ready, you're going in an hour. So I had like a trolley full of shopping, got Viennetta for night time, all that sort of stuff. And it honestly, and it was like, right, you're going. So I'm going to have to go sort of thing. So off I went, and the journey, same funny thing as you guys, when you get off a plane and somebody's like, it's hot. And you're like, aren't you? You're like that, oh, it's engines. And then you realise when you're actually in the terminal and it's still that hot, it's not the engines. Nightmare. So we went to Kuwait, and it was like right close to the border. And I remember the acclimatisation in tents consisted of laughing at this other lad called Zuni having a camel spider on his cockpit. He had the net sticker, like an alien sucker. You do a bit of a bimble, bit of a walk in morning. And then I used to chong it. So there were 3 smoking bays. So I just walk around them all day. Have 2 fags at that one, a little bit of water, and just do that until the sun went down. That was my acclimatisation.
I was one of them, like you said in the tent, saying, "What, Danny? Water coming out my ears."
I remember them massive tents.
Yeah.
I used to smoke then as well. I kept my lights on my top left. Like the majority of packing list is in there. My fucking lighter blew up in the tent. It was that hot, and it fucking froze my nipple. I was like, then that puff of smoke come out like, frozen nips. I'll never forget that.
What's it like going to war? Frozen nips.
5 bullets.
And I used to think like, oh, the gaffer's well good. He's always looking smart and cutting about. And you're in a bloody tent with a fridge and a aircon, wouldn't he? Anyway, allegedly.
When they said, if you went man down, you had to get on coach.
Yeah, everybody's like Resident Evil coach, like that.
What else going on it? You're not allowed to pile in.
You walk past it, and it was like Connor, you know, when they're waving, like that on that plane. They're all like that. And you're walking past like melting, all waving.
Bastards. But
this is first time that like I seen Dale, and we were told. So me and Carl said, right, you're taking the vehicles to Basra sort of thing. Now I was always one for info. It's like, right, you know, what support have we got? Oh, you haven't got any. What comms have we got? Well, you can talk to each vehicle. I said, no, but with who else? They went, oh, you're great. It's a straight road. It's around. It's a roundabout, and then you just turn right.
Fires.
You can't miss it. I thought, all right. I said, medics, you'll be all right. You've got guys that know first aid. I thought, Jesus Christ. And like you said, we hardly any like ammunition and stuff like that. I remember Dale. I was up top me, and I was like that, and we me and Carl said we'd take turns in leading sort of thing, like do bounds and that. And I was like having me chongas and all that sort of thing. And I've actually got a picture. Somebody took a picture of me on top, and my eyes are like deep in thought, thinking, Jesus, if something goes wrong here, we're in a world of trouble. We've got 2 Mr. Whippy ice cream vans, like with loads of lads in back, like do you know what I mean? And Dale come up and he said, like, what? I said, all right, mate. He said, like, what are we doing? I said, I'll be honest with you, because I didn't like lying. If I didn't know, I wouldn't paint a picture on it. And I said, I don't know. I said, I honestly don't know what we're doing. All I've been told is to drive up there and it's a roundabout and hang a right. And that is it. And I won't dwell like too much on Iraq, but the bizarreness of it was we'd literally got there. So there's like kits everywhere. And then we got given 2 Land Rovers and told to go back and escort this big fuel convoy up. And no radios, no maps. So it's all right, back where you come sort of thing. So he tips up and there's all these, but they've got private contractors.
Yeah.
They look like RoboCop. Wearing a Rolex watch, all body armour on, like a laser gun, force fields and everything. And then we're tipping up in these Land Rovers without a roof. we're like Stalingrad. We're like, somebody's got the gat, somebody's got a round. That's it.
Yeah.
So he's right. You've got one right at front with 4 guys in, all panicking like that. A massive convoy, and then another little like Land Rover at back. And yeah, we took them back. But crazy times there. Absolutely crazy times.
Crazy
place. But one of the funniest things was, it might not tickle you viewers, but I found it hilarious at the time. So Carl didn't smoke, hated fags, right? And remember the power.
Hated cigarettes, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. The power was intermittent, so we managed to get this like fridge freezer from locals. So he managed to get some screech powder, put it in a bottle of water, and put it in there. So I thought, right, and he'd been on about it and all that sort of stuff. So I put a fag dimp in it, right? A cigarette dimp, right? So we went out and it was right, and you couldn't have wrote it any better. So as we're out and about in community, power cut through Basra. So he's flapping then, thinking, oh, it's you know, my little thing's gonna get ruined and all that. So he gets back in pitch black and we're like in room sort of thing, and he's like, right, I'm off to the freezer to get my drink. He gets it and he's drinking it. And he went, like that. Anyway,
who needs the enemy when you've got mates like that?
I'm absolutely crying my eyes out. It's stuck in his throat, this cigarette tin. Anyway, another lad starts laughing, so he starts going nuts at him, and it took me. I ended up being his best man like years later, and I told him then, so I couldn't tell him at the time. Yeah. He was going absolutely, but it was stuck. You were like, and he had like what were they in there? Like L&B or something, and they were they're horrible, weren't they? Yeah. Rich, that bit, yeah. Something like a dollar for a million fags or something, and he had one of them stuck like that. He didn't swallow it, he managed to spit it out, but
Danny, our lads did it to one at Blocks with Viagra, didn't they? That went off.
Oh yeah, nearly killed him.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Pardon.
Prior to going.
Have been like that.
Prior to going to Iraq, me first daughter was born, Bethany. So I only probably had about maybe 2 months with her. And you know, out there, it wasn't like it is now, where you could, you do your Skype or whatever. You had a sat phone, and you were, depending on what was happening elsewhere, would dictate if you could make that phone call. You know, like a prison system, there's only half an hour for the phone. You have to book it. If you miss that slot, you don't get it back. Tough sort of thing. Yeah, and it was juddery anyway when you spoke to me, like, hello, 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 hello.
Yeah.
Everybody like scat man. So that were a bit surreal when I got back, because like she'd obviously aged 6 months, and like for a few days she didn't recognise me. She was a bit like standoffish sort of thing, like who's this tanned, like skinny guy sort of thing. So I lost a load of weight out there. I was probably about, well, what am I now? I'm about 13 and a half stone now. And then I was, after that place, about 9.5 stone. I felt like Skeletor.
Yeah.
Like proper, like,
Rock
just,
stock, isn't it?
yeah, it's just like amazing how much weight you lost, sort of thing. So yeah, we went back to Iraq later on, but that was a different tour. The world had changed with facilities, equipment, and you had more of an idea that what was going on, sort of thing, and you know, it was a different world. There was like cafes and Starbucks, and you can go and get measured up for a suit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just a bit surreal.
Yeah, I would know you back, and between
Yeah.
Iraq and everything in your career. How would you take in your direction of being a dad?
I wanted to be the best dad in the world, and I did, like, because I've been away, I felt guilty. So being a young dad, I thought, well, if I shower with gifts and that sort of thing, that'll sort of like bridge that time missed. And I didn't realise until I was older that kids aren't bothered about loads of gifts and stuff. You know, if they don't get to see their parents through whatever, they give anything for a minute at a time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With the parents sort of thing, they're not bothered about bikes and computers. And I learned, you know, quite quick that it was time, even if it was doing nothing, like eating grass or drawing or painting or, you know, whatever it may be, that was the quality moments. You know, I always wanted her to, because I know, like, my mum and dad worked hard and they tried their best, but I always wanted the kids to have like the best clothes, and maybe it was like me reliving that Samba, because when I had money, the first thing I did was buy some Adidas Samba. That was the first thing I did, and so I always wanted them to, you know, like have the best things and look smart, and I wanted to, you know what it was like in the army. Sometimes you had a lot of time at home, a lot of time, you know, whether it was, you know, doing your job, training somebody else, whatever it may be. So just to spend as much quality time, you know, story time at night, doing homework, that sort of stuff, going to the sports day, parents' evening, if I could. You know, it was super important. Teaching her to swim at an early age, seeing if she could play chess, make a bit of bob or two later on. She couldn't, so that one went to wayside. But yeah, it was. But it's it's massive, isn't it? Like when you're a young dad, that responsibility, world changes massively, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, your thought process, and you
juggle a career and a family.
Yeah, and
all the responsibilities it carries.
It's hard, isn't it? And it's such a demanding career as well. That you know that you can't just, because I was like a sergeant then, so I'd be like platoon. So you couldn't just shut off at 5, you know, if one of the lads needed some help or, you know, some training for the next day, whatever discipline, whatever it may be, you were the first port to call, you know. So I found that, you know, you would, even though I was trying my best to allocate that time, sometimes that time might get cut short, you know, and that in itself creates friction. Do you know what I mean? Environment, you know, because people that haven't been in that job don't understand just how committed you have to be. And, you know, sometimes, as horrible as it may sound, you have to, depending on where you are, you do have to put your family in your head to one side, to concentrate on what you're doing, because you've got like your new family, you know, your people that are in your small team, your medium team, your big team that you're looking after, that it might be their first experience, you know. So you've got to keep an eye on them. are they coping all right? You know, are they missing home? Are they going through the same culture shock as I did on my first, you know, experience of real soldiering sort of thing?
It's almost like being the matriarch of two families.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So yeah, so it was different, and then it was just really normal jogging for a bit, to be honest. In Catterick, like the cycles, like training, you know, your fitness on a Friday, and then we got the news we were off to Germany, to Osnabrück. Wow, that was an eye opener. Jesus. So that was interesting, moving to a new country, that sort of stuff. I was still a sergeant, so I like having a platoon and that, but it was just a different way of life, wasn't it? I remember fondly Chronic Gardens when I was on my duty as a sergeant.
Yeah, really.
On the other side, yeah.
I were good friends with like both the guys that were like your like sergeants then. So my main thing was I wanted a quiet night, and I knew you guys would give me a quiet night. You create fire, but then in the morning it'd be like nothing had happened. Apart from one morning I come in on a Sunday, so instead of doing it Saturday, and I think somebody were in a salt bin or something, or
Gosh, we have to call him by his code word because of the job he does. Right?
I was coming on to duty, so I drove into camp, and I think you started a bit later on a Saturday, didn't you? And there was just like a few bodies here and there. You know what I mean? One was in a salt bin, and I stopped in car and I said, "Are you all right, mate?" And yeah, it's like Corona Gardens. I went, "Okie dokie."
Well, he had two nicknames after that, didn't he? He had Kosh and Perno.
Yeah.
And I think the story basically goes, he'd arrived, been asked the age-old question, "Can you drink, you?"
Giving it big licks, weren't he?
Yeah, so he was given a bottle of Perno and says, "Seen that off, neck nominate, off you go." Boom. Next thing, we're having to hide him in a Kosh locker.
It was absolutely hilarious, but I loved it because you didn't get any bother. You know what I mean? Where I think we weren't mentioning names and stuff like that, so it maybe irritated some people, and they thought it was their business that, oh, you can't do this sort of thing. But I was more under the view of, because I changed my ways a little bit then, because as you know, I had quite a reputation when I was younger of you know, being, you know, well, basically a knobhead, really. And that was, we weren't going into too much. That was like from the lifestyle when I joined, and the people that I had to, well, mentor sort of thing. It was, their ethos was rule with an iron fist. And as the army changed, I changed with it sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? So I was happy for you guys to, because I could go into the cellar and put Doom on and have a bit of a takeaway, and I know the phone won't go off. Do you know what I mean? In them creepy cellars. So yeah, Germany. I was trying for another kid, but it just never seemed to happen, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? And I'd always wanted more than one kid, because it was like, you know, it's like, you know, somebody, because when I was growing up, I was an only child in that environment, and I thought, you know, it'd be nice to have like a little sister or a little brother, yeah, you know, or for Bethany sort of thing. But nothing happened, so pretty much uneventful, really. Germany, without going into too much, we went on that second Iraq, but it was more like doing a course, to be fair. There was some interesting bits, but a totally different world to, you know, to the first one. So back to Catterick, sort of thing.
Yorkshire.
Most of my career in bloody Catterick.
Yeah, so new estate. I'd got promoted then to colour sergeant. I was in charge of mortars, which is not the mechanical. It's like fires a weapon system quite far, where it's all sorts of things. Won't bore you too much with it. and all that, sport-friendly forces, neutralising the fire and all that sort of thing. Flashbacks then. There's one here. No, ain't boring you too much. Look at that there, ready to go. Oh, it's laid on that.
Bring it in a bit more.
It's laid on to Turf Moor.
Yeah, you probably won't get past the Wham Stadium.
Anyway, so but then Afghan came up, first Afghan. So we did a lot of training for that, and I was in Johnny Mercer's FST. You know who's the MP now? Yeah, so we did all not deploying. Johnny Mercer. He still owes me, if you're watching this, you still owe me 20 Marlborough Elites. So we did all training at Otterburn, and in one of them little groups you have somebody that talks to things in the air, helicopters or planes, to get them to do and create an effect for you, and then you have like a bit of a team, an artillery lad, a mortar lad to create different effects on the ground. Not always kinetic. It could be, providing illumination, observing into an area, something like that. But then we got split up because Major Newman, really good bloke, he wanted me as his MFC for his. So like they split up these little groups of like subject matter experts, and he wanted me. Now at this time we'd had Abby, my second, and so she was quite young. She was probably about 6 to 7 months, but then Claire got pregnant again, and that was like a ball out of the blue sort of thing. So Abby was literally a baby, and I remember clearing snow off Drive. I got a message like from Ironside and come inside, and it was and then I'm pregnant again, and it was like, bloody hell, do you know what I mean? I'm off to Afghanistan sort of thing. Yeah. So I just got a newborn, and obviously another one in oven, and it had gone from one kid trying no more kids, getting a big Alsatian, sort of like a comfort thing, to getting ready to become a dad for the third time. So we got to Afghan. It was like very touchy-feely. It was very, very, very busy to her. Every day it was absolutely relentless. Gaz Davis, shout out.
Were you with Gribbs?
No, I wasn't beginning, because Gribbs was like my signaller dude, making brews and all that, and doing binds and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, go for Gribbs. Love you, Gribbs. Love you, Gribbs.
Just before you get deeper into Afghan, because I know it's going to get busy.
Yeah.
Just being a dad and everything, mate.
Yeah.
We've talked about in the past how bulletproof you become as the further you go up the ranks and stuff like that. How did you feel in a bit of realism? Because we knew the fucking score about Afghan. We'd seen the rate of casualties that had been coming back towards us. Danny had even said, the signs, what it was like back at home, of the messages that we were getting and that. How did you feel as a dad now, with, like we said, the matriarch of 2 families? What goes through your mind? Like, really, you're a leader of men now.
Oh, it's that it was a little bit. It was like a strange time, like prior to going. So it's a little bit like when we're soldiers, where Mel Gibson, like, he knows that something's going to happen, and he's reading all about the Alamo. Is it the Alamo? Not the Alamo. What is it? Where they all get massacred, like by the Indians. Custer's Last Stand.
Custer's Last Stand, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I'm thinking, wow, I've got all these people that I'm responsible for, but I'm going to be potentially calling something down that's going to be really close to them, that could injure them. Do you know what I mean? And I knew it was going to be, because a lot of the boys then hadn't done the Iraqs, they hadn't done Northern Ireland, things like that. So there's not even like a foundation, a starter for, you know, prepare ourselves, starting to adapt. And I felt that I'd already started to adapt to that environment probably a month before I went. I was fearful for the kids. I thought, you know, it's the time when you're actually sitting down and you're writing a will and writing letters. You know, Beth, when you're 18, Abby, when you get married, a letter to Olivia, you know, thinking, I've never even met her, you know, at this stage. I'm thinking, this is real, this. I might not be coming back. And I was really clever. And he, like, we did a training, and there were 2 bases, and like he went to one, we went to one, we could see each other, sort of thing. And the mood around camp was the same. It was, you know, I wouldn't. If somebody said they were excited, they were lying, absolutely lying. I was fearful, but because I was colour sergeant, you have to put on that brave face, because there's somebody that, yeah, it's hard time. It's hard time mentally, you know. Like, I kept putting like little boxes everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like, thinking back to what my dad said, you know, about, you know, just, you know, you've got to lock it away, you know. And I thought, right, I had another baby on way, and I thought, but I've got to really push that as best I can, you know, to one side, because this is the real deal. This ain't, you know, like going to Northern Ireland, there's a lot of people getting injured and or unfortunately losing their life, sort of thing. And we knew that when we were going, it wouldn't change. We changed to MTP, which is like the lighter green combat bottoms, for those that don't know. Prior to that, it were deserts, and on the radio when we landed, you could listen to what the other people were saying, and they thought we were special forces because we had this different combats on. They changed their mind after watching us for half an hour.
That's another one, isn't it? There's not a lot. That's not reported very often. That you both know what each other are doing.
Oh yeah, they were. You go. You'd have, like, say, an Afghan police dude with you, or and an interpreter, so somebody that, for those that don't know, that listens to what the others are talking about and then translates it. And he'd say to us, he'd say, they're watching you now, Colour. They're talking about the guy with a cross antenna, and they know they're getting ready for you at that junction. They're watching you constantly. They know what you're doing, and to a sense, we know what they're doing. So that it was an absolute. Without going into it too much, it was just horrendous. For the first week, and because I decided we had 3 multiples there. Jeff Tibbs had one, Dave Taylor had one, with Gaz Davis, and they went on a rotation. So they'd maybe do a job in the morning and then not have a job till late at night, and then the next team went in. But I said I'd go out on every patrol with every multiple. So I'd literally get back in, and in my choice, I'd literally get back in, have half an hour to have my cold chicken korma, and then literally go back out again. And I did that, and I got told after a bit, you know, you need to balance it out, sort of thing. But yeah, it was just super like busy out there. I won't wish it out there, that on my worst enemy, that sort of thing. Yeah, it was heavy. It's like I remember the day when, unfortunately, when Rick got injured, we seen the plume of smoke, and you heard the big flash and all that sort of stuff, and people were getting injured. Obviously, Rocco and all that. A good friend of ours, Chris McInerney, and there was a lack of support. So you was just literally dumped somewhere, and like, you're sort of a victim of your own success in Army. If you do something well, they leave you to it and then give you more stuff to do. So towards the back end of the tour, so I got up a really good relationship with Major Newman, and like we'd done loads of stuff. Like I'd actually done my job for real, you know, creating effects on the ground and doing stuff. Gaz always goes on about danger close.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Right, well, we you know what it's like out there. You left your house, you go into the shop, you went 10 metres and you got in a scrap, didn't you? Yeah, you got in a firefight. So with it, we were walking and we got into a spot of bother. We started coming under fire, and there was like a little bun line, and so we got down that bun line, but we were like pinned down. We were getting. So I said, right. I said, so everybody looks at me then, because I can create something else. So I thought, right, I'll have a bit of smoke here. So my mortars were out of range. So I thought we'll have some 105 here, some artillery. It's a little bit more complex because the round's like a big metal table, and it has a carrier shell that fires along the ground. So you've got to like start working out angles and working out where we are, working out not to damage a building. There's all sorts, and you've got like a little, without going into too much official secrets, you can see the ground because you've got like a little camera. So you can have someone up in air, you can see the ground, and you're looking to make sure you do not calculations where we are. And I said,
relate to it.
Pardon?
Call of Duty fans will be relating now.
Yeah, so I called this thing in and I said, right, it's going to be close. There's a potential risk to us, but I'm going to get you to move and I will stay the closest, because I've got to stay the closest to it to observe it and to make sure everything's all right. So, and you can hear it with my artillery shell, it's like that. And then it hit, and then it went, and this massive thing, there's all smoke. And Gaz were running past, and I'm sat there smoking a fag like that. And he looked at me like, and I went, danger close, that, danger close. Because it landed probably a little bit closer than it should have done. But with that type of smoke, there's not something in it that can harm you. With mortar smoke, there's phos in it. So when that lands, it fires out phos. Yeah. So yeah, it burns. So yeah, it was like super close. It was probably about 20 meters away, and then it was all the smoke. So all the smoke were up. So then we could move, sort of thing. So that's a danger close thing, because whenever I was calling something in, and like Gaz was like, when Gaz was out there, I'd always be smoking. So there'd be something going on, and I'd be having a fag like that, going like that. Or if I was sat on a roof, and then I'd always, like, you need to get permission to bring something in really close. So like the OC has to sign it off. But I'd always, the environment, you'd have to do it danger close. But I did shat myself the first one I fired, because I was just watching where it should land like that, and hoping it wouldn't land like over there, like that. And luckily it like that, like that. But luckily it did do. So they always landed where they should, sort of thing. But towards the end of the tour, so I've been home on me R&R, everything were all good and all that sort of stuff. This is where like a next milestone, so like emotional roller coaster hit me, and I knew something was wrong, because we'd done a job. We'd been out at night, and we'd moved to one of bases. So we come in at night, and the boss said, he always called me bed. He said, right, you've got about 4 hours sleep if you want. Get your heads down. Clean all your bits and bats, your stuff like you normally did. Clean your stuff, get that boxed off, and then sort yourself out. And then I went to bed, and he woke me up, and he went, he said, colour Beresford, can I have a word outside? And I thought, you know, when you're racking your brains, and you're thinking, what have I done wrong here? What have I not done? Yeah, because he'd never called me colour Beresford. And so I went outside, and then he said, you need to get back to UK, sort of thing. He said, your daughter's dying, and like there's like some serious like stuff going on and all that sort of stuff. So that's all like the next bit that I'm gonna going to take you onto. And my head at that point was absolutely mashed, because he said, like, the army was brilliant in getting me from A to B sort of thing, and we'll touch on that. And it was like, right, you're going in an hour. So I had all my helmet, my kit on from overnight, from scrapping and all that sort of stuff. And I remember seeing Daz Morris. So all the boys were great, because I was like, what about all my stuff? And they said, we'll pack all that up, don't worry about that. You just grab what you need, you go in, sort of thing. And I remember Daz Morris getting off the plane, off an helicopter that I was getting on. And he was like a really good friend. We were like godparents to each other's kids. And he didn't know, and I was like tears in my eyes, everything. And I was like walking past him, and he said, "You all right, Biz? You all right?" I said, "No, mate." I said, "I've got to go," sort of thing. So yeah, so I got on to and got back to Bastion, and I was just sort of like in a daze, if you will. Do you know what I mean? And I was like waiting for the plane. So they were going to re-rank me a plane. They were umming and ahhing with that sort of stuff, because at that point it was looking like they were both going to die, sort of thing. So Claire and Olivia, and so like Abby's only like 7 months old, whatever. Beth's still a toddler. So I'm thinking, shit, I need to get home, I need to get home. And they rerouted the flight, so it landed at Teesside, and they were supposed to be getting, so it's an hour and a half flight. Yeah. So they were supposed to be getting me a chopper to pick me up from Teesside to fly me to James Cook. But in good old army fashion, so I'm there with my helmet on, my body armour, all that sort of stuff. The taxi waiting for me, and this taxi driver, he says, is that like Culleberry? So I said, yeah. He said, are you going to James Cook Hospital? I went, yeah. He said, do you know how to get there? And I went, no, mate. I said, I was in Afghan. Excuse me. I haven't got a clue. So like, I got to hospital. So like, and we got there, and I was stood outside, and like I had all my gear on, my helmet, all that sort of stuff. And I knew there was something like seriously going wrong in the hospital, but I didn't want to go in. So I was outside having a fag at the entrance.
Real.
Yeah, because I knew so I didn't have any decompression, nothing like that. Didn't do the Cypress, any of that stuff. I still had blood on my shirt, and I knew if I went in there, it was like a dream. Nighttime Afghan, literally less than 24 hours. I'm in the UK. I'm just outside an hospital, and I knew that if I went in there, it became real. And a dad came out, because obviously, like, and he just had a kid, and he said, "Oh, what have you had, mate? You know what I mean? Congratulations." And I was just like glazed, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? And I tried not to let him know that. Obviously, I was like upset, and I said to him, "Oh, I said, I'm not sure yet." And do you know what I mean? He said, "Oh, I've just had a little lad," sort of thing. So then I went in, and we weren't going into too much, and we ended up living in the hospital for 7 days. So the kids didn't know I was home. So Beth,
yeah,
and obviously I was a little baby, and it was Neil Dearden that actually saved the mum's life, because she'd started going like downhill, and she was like with and so she collapsed basically, and she managed to phone Neil, because we were good friends, and Neil were RC rear party again, I think. So he were like back in UK sort of thing. So like, the process for that was, and we had an ambulance and a paramedic tipped up to carry, and they were arguing which hospital. So I'm in Afghan at this stage, which hospital to go to, and they're arguing between James Cook and Northallerton. James Cook had specialist equipment there for an earlier birth. Northallerton didn't. So there was a kerfuffle going on outside. she got took to Northallerton. Things deteriorated over time. They moved to James Cook. Things deteriorated again. Time wasted, hours and hours wasted at that end, contributed to ultimately a death sort of thing. But that was obviously surreal because I lived there, and then I remember, and Beth didn't know what was going on. So Neil and Claire said, like, after about 7 days, can we bring him to hospital? Because I was sleeping on a hotbed. Whilst we were trying to do things, do you know what I mean? But things weren't working, X, Y, Z. And then, so the first time Beth's in there, she's like, what are you doing, Dad? What are you doing here? Why? Because I didn't have any other clothes, so I was still in my combats. With me, like, my helmet and body armour. And then she went, like, where's my sister? And I had to tell her, I said, like, she died, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? And my head was mashed, absolutely mashed, because I still hadn't, like, done, like, the decompression Afghan thing. And then I had that. And
well, even without all this, Bez, what me and Danny talked about, it's the immediate change of environment. You're still in another routine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100%. My head was still in Afghan, you know, listening to bloody cars backfiring and stuff like that. And I sort of like with that sort of like knocked me a lot, that sort of thing. I didn't know what to do with myself, because I blame myself for not being there, because I was in Afghan. Because I always thought if I'd have been there, I could have got her to the right place, sort of thing. So I didn't drink right like that. I was angry, but I didn't start expire, but depressed in a way. I went very, like, withdrawn. Do you know what I mean? It took me a bit of time to, you know, to come to terms with that one and accept that, you know, if I had been here, then it might have gone the same. Do you know what I mean? Because hindsight's a brilliant thing. But yeah, I mean, you guys have seen I've got that little bit of a tattoo, and I always wonder, like, every year, I take a balloon up and like let a balloon off for, like, with your age on and that sort of thing. But yeah, it was quite a difficult time, because my head was a bit mashed up with Afghan as well. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And, like, the army gave me 3 weeks off. So I, like, from, like, but a week of that was in hospital. So, like, the time literally started from when I got on that plane, sort of thing. But that's a standardised policy. I mean, I think you only get 2 weeks in out at army, don't you, for loss of a kid, sort of thing. But pardon?
Sorry to interrupt. Did you get offered any counselling?
No. Nothing at all for that. Zero. I wanted to go back, so, like, the guys were, because it weren't so long before the battalion were coming back, and I wanted to go into camp, so I'd had my 3 weeks up, and my like company who I've worked with, they were coming back in, and I wanted to see them marching in. Do you know what I mean? Because we'd been through the experiences together. And I remember Major Newman coming up to me. Here's a good bloke in. He said, Bez, he said, what are you doing in work? And I said, well, that's my 3 weeks up. He said, mate, he said, go home. He said, come back when you're ready.
You're feeling really conflicted though, aren't you?
Yeah. He said,
distraction, isn't it, going back to work?
Yeah, 100%. And that's
that mindset, aren't you?
Yeah, I think because I hadn't even, like, started my grieving process at that stage. My mind was that busy. And you're exactly right. That's what I thought would work best, just to be busy. Yeah. You know, do you know what I mean? And sort of, because you can imagine the feelings at home, and you know, we had to do the funeral. It was quite ironic. It was Super Padre, Mr. Hyde. Yeah, it was quite. Yeah, it was quite ironic because he did the baptism, christening of Beth, but did Olivia's funeral. in the same church in Cartrick. So it was really, I just wanted to try and keep busy. Do you know what I mean? I didn't, because the counselling would have been brilliant, 100%. But you know, it wasn't that I wouldn't have accepted it if I'd have been offered it. I believe, you know, I'm all my life in talking, but it just wasn't there. Do you know what I mean? It was like, oh, you'd be right. You're side, you'd be right.
Did you feel at the time as well? How are you gonna? Because amongst your peers, how are you gonna talk to your peers about this when you've come home early?
Yeah.
It's a very bizarre thought process.
Yeah, and some of the boys didn't know. So like when I went back to work, they were like guys, Olivia, and the people that did know were like that, and I'd say, "She, Dad, mate." I said, and they were like, "Oh," so I said, "Look, it's not your fault. You didn't know." Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's weird time. I think counselling would have helped massively. I did a lot of training. I do find sort of like comfort in training, and I've done all my life. You know what I mean? Like, you know, just not just a distraction, but the calming. Just, you know what I mean, and gather your thoughts if you're out running. That isolation sometimes you're out running, or you can just clear your head a little bit and try and rearrange and try and get things into perspective. And it's more common than you'd know, but at that time I didn't know anybody else in the army that had gone through loss. Do you know what I mean? There was one guy that I knew of, Phil Points. He lost his daughter in Tidworth, you know, but he was long gone, sort of thing. So it was a different time. Excuse me, if you know what I mean.
What helped you apart from doing your fizz and that? Is there anything else that you found useful or that helped you get through this horrific event?
Yeah, hope. Always having a belief that things will get better, and that's later on down the line when I worked with kids. I tried to, you know, so I like to pass that down to them. You know, it might be a horrendous at this moment in time, and you're having to deal with, you know, huge amounts of pressure and you know, like it's really affecting your mindset and stuff like that. But it will get better. There's no time frame on it.
Yeah,
people are different.
it's
Some
a
people,
healer. Yeah,
yeah, but it'll never go away. You know, it's like sometimes I get upset on a birthday sort of thing, but it just gets a little bit easier. Do you know what I mean? As the months go by and what have you, that sort of thing. So yeah, so that was like quite a hard work, a heavy year sort of thing. So we moved on from there. We stayed in Catterick, went on another Afghan. I was apprehensive about that one, but it was another slipper city, like the second Iraq.
right.
You had Wi-Fi, you could go to NAFI and you could go to gym. I spent, I'd say a majority of that tour going to gym. You know, I'd have a pager, I'd go in, I'd do my shift, calculations and stuff like that. I was a SOT major at this time, and so I'd like a really good routine actually. From the apprehension prior to going, you worked hard, but it was like a routine. You didn't really see outside that bubble, and it wasn't as busy across the landscape. You know, there was still bits and bats going on, but it wasn't as busy.
How old were the girls at this time?
Girls, well, you're testing me now, you little bugger. That was 2012, so I'd say Abby was about 4, and Beth was probably about 11, going on for 11, so back end of primary school.
Yeah.
But you had a lot more. You had a lot more communication then. You could phone home every night. You got Facebook and all that, FaceScout, all that sort of stuff. So you
Other platforms are available.
Yeah, at Spotify and at YouTube and all that sort of stuff. So it wasn't, you were away, but you weren't away in that sense. Do you know what I mean? Because you had that communication and all your creature comforts that you had a laundrette. You take your stuff, you come back, proper good food, and yeah, so it was just weird. But it's dangerous because you can take your eye off the ball.
Yeah.
And get too relaxed. You know what I mean? And forget what in the blink of an eye could potentially happen, sort of thing.
It's just weird because you've been a lot longer career than mine, a bit longer than Danny's.
Yeah.
So you've travelled, you've been away from your family, you're doing anything. Just for people that don't know, and I think I touched on it, we talked about it, you're kind of married to somebody that you don't know.
Yeah, 100%.
So but now you've added in, the unfortunate loss of Olivia. What does this do to your marriage now? Are you close? Are you just going through the motions? Because you're getting to the end of your career as well, aren't you?
Yeah. Prior to that, for quite a long time, we were more friends than in a relationship. We talked about the divorce prior to 2012, but from my point of view at that stage, it was more for kids. I didn't want to break up that idea that they had of a family sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Particularly with being a soldier that's been away a lot. I just, at that point, I was sort of doing a bit of putting them before me. It was more like a relationship, and it worked in the sense of, because I was hardly ever there. Do you know what I mean? So and when I was there, I was doing my own thing. Like Olivia, I wouldn't say it pushed it more south, because it was already heading south anyway, you know what I mean? But it was probably around that time that I started to think, is it becoming a negative environment for the kids? Would it be a better environment if I wasn't there all the time? Do you know what I mean? And they get to know their mum, they get to know their dad, but they get to know a happy dad, they get to know a happy mum, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? And life's too short sometimes, as we know through our our various journeys that we've been on. So it was at that time that we were both starting to think, how much longer do we carry on this roadshow sort of thing? Do we wait till the kids are 18 and I'm like nearly 90 or something like that? You know what I mean? And then try and start again, or it's about, for me, it was about having that fairness for everybody, because it affects the kids. It's making it fair on everybody, so everybody can get on with their lives. But it didn't happen then. I left the army, so it plodded on like that. So there's another Afghan in there. We had a few split ups, where we split up, back together, split up, back together, that sort of thing. My army career finished really in 2015. Battalion were going to Cyprus. I was told that I was getting posted to Blackpool. But it weren't Blackpool, it was Blackburn. So this is 2015. So I tipped up at the reserve centre, and all my gear on like that. They didn't know who I were. How are you? I said, I'm Bez. Bez who? It's Bez Army. So they're like, yeah, I said, well, I've got a posting order here. So, yeah, Maracas, Happy Mondays, Twisted Melon. They're like, no, never heard of it. So say like, I've been posted here. They're like, what? I said, well, training start, Major. They went, we've got one. Who's on it? And it was one of my old mates from Motors, Jimmy Linus, hilarious. This Green Howard dude. He's like, oh, right, biz, all that. He's from down south. I'm not right. I'm not right good at accents. So I was like, all right. So I went and seen like the boss there, and I said, well, what do you want me to do? Because like they do cadets there. I said, do you want me to come in and you know, help out a little bit if there's, you know, any lessons? No, well, they're umming and ahhing. So right, go home, leave us your number, and we'll call you when we need you. So a week goes by. I'm getting up every morning, having gear on, sat there ready to go. Like on QRF, 5 minutes notice to move. Not even playing on FIFA, nothing like that, ready to go. Never ring. So I start to like, a bit like lockdown, you know, like start like getting back to normal. I'm not, you know, maybe not having a shave for a couple of days, ooh, that sort of stuff. And nobody ever phones. So at the end of 6 months, I've got a massive beard and I look like Jeff Capes because I've been in my garage lifting iron like that. Doing Atlas balls like that. You know, moving Atlas balls like that. So,
so anyway, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. So then I got a letter saying you have to hand all your gear in. So I'm panicking then because I've got like 23 years of gear. I'm looking for my old training PE shorts. How the hell I fit into them? I got one leg on. the old PE t-shirt, which when I put on it was like a crop top like that, and it was like really tight.
But it's expected of you. We issued you this in 1993. Where is it?
So I tipped up with all these boxes. They only wanted about 6 things. They weren't bloody interested in the rest of it. So that was me then, done. I've done my dine out. But you get a lion in Duke of Lancasters for doing 22 years, or you're supposed to, but I was lucky enough to get one. I got like my leaving presents from like my platoon and all that, like pictures there up on the wall and what have you, and then that was it. I'm then thrust into like weirdness, like yeah, and it was just weird because I was like, I used to like coming into camp, and I thought I was pretty cool as a sat major. I didn't like being called by my name. They called me Bez, but you'd have them like on front gate, like, when you're coming in, like that. And you're like, I said, bloody hell, Kevin, yeah, like that. And then I'm into society back. From where I started my life journey, do you know what I mean? And I was quite lucky because I got a pension, so a bit of money from like a lump sum, and then a bit of money from army every month. But I like to do something. I couldn't just be one of them, excuse me, that sat around not doing anything. Do you know what I mean? So I got a job at Tesco, bit of plug-in, Tesco. Never done it in my life before, right? So what I did, because I'd applied for loads of jobs that, you know, doing all sorts, and they just weren't getting back, not interested. So I watched YouTube and learned how to, you know, fill it, all that sort of stuff.
What an amazing platform.
Yeah, here we go. That's what we're on now on YouTube.
Yeah.
Then I went for interview, filleted fish and all that. And they said, like, what you like talking to people? I said, oh, I'm all right. So they said, right, we'll give you 10 minutes on till at front. Like that. So I'm there, boop, boop. Do you want help with your packing, monkey? No, all right, okay. That was it. They loved it. Got the job.
So 20 odd years in army, leader of men, war zones, everything, to blagging your way into being a fishmonger at Tesco.
Yeah. Fillet fish.
Fillet fish.
But it was graft. Now, just a little bit prior to that, my dad passed away, huge influence in my life. So again, I was still only on the downward curve of like, you know, that loss. So I'd gone on the roller coaster.
Yeah.
And then it, you know, I'd been on another one, and then I'm in Tesco, and I'm loving it, mate, because there's like, there were kids coming on, you know, doing tour, and it was brilliant there because they'd say, right, oh, kids are coming in, who's going to tell them about cheese and fish and meat? And they're all hiding. Most people at work, they're like that. or going bright red like that. You know what I mean? I said, I'll do it. I loved it, you know, like, and that was sort of like my first eye-opener, like working with kids, and I loved it because, you know what I mean, I like a laugh as well, so yeah. they love it. Like I used to get like 2 fish eyes hidden underneath, and like they'd be taking them fruit fish, and they'd be there, and I'd come up and they'd go, eee! But the kids would love it. I don't think teachers were too impressed, but the kids would love it. But I hadn't been there long, and I had like an Aunt Middleton type come to counter, dead same, and
yeah,
hat, yeah. that Aunt Middleton who's a hat, him that runs MNCO's card is on or whatever, yeah. Anyway, yeah. Hat, yeah. Anyway, moving back to the story. So he come up with his hat on, and he like ordering some fancy prawns. And I said to him, they're like, I don't know, like £4 each then, because he wanted to give me 20. And I said, he said, oh, don't worry about that. And he said to me, he said, you're ex-army, aren't you? I said, yeah. Because you sort of know, don't you, how people carry themselves. And just like words that stuff like that, isn't it? Yeah. So he said, what did you do? So like I told him what I did, and he said, mate, he said, do you want to stand here for the next 20 years doing this? He said, because and then I'm thinking, and then he went, and I thought, yeah, do I want to look down this corridor at reductions Al for the next 20 years? Because that were highlights of my day, reductions, and then you had a little posse that would come in, the reductions crew, and they'd all be like having a little, like WWF, you know, like Royal Rumble. They were like a bit of cheese for 5p, and they'd be top roping each other and all sorts. Yeah. Hey, you know, like Horner got, and they come walking in like that sort of thing. So,
what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But just to touch on that as well, Bez, is the mentality, because you've left the army after 22 years. Yeah. You've hit this word, retired.
Yeah.
You're not. You're not doing that role.
40s, aren't you?
Yeah, I was only 42.
Yeah.
You know.
Retirement age, really.
Yeah. Oh, that ghost lady's not past. Is there any chance of a brew, please, love? There we go. Top up. Anyway, but yeah, it was strange in that sense being retired, and I'm quite adaptable. So a lot of people said, "Well, how are you going to cope being a sergeant major, with, you know, with the responsibility, and then you're doing this?" I said, "Well, I'm quite flexible and adaptable. I find that's helped me. I can quickly." Like a clown, change into a new costume sort of thing, and get into that role really quickly. And at that time, I'd got wind that obviously Danny was working with young guns, and so I'd been offered that, like, to go into it, and then I thought, you know what? And there's this car in front of me. So you know what I'm like, if you've worked with me, I like to go have a banger before I start anything. So this guy gets out. I thought, kindred spirit, somebody else that's being analysed for the day. And all right, I'm Bez. I know you are, it's Dale. Oh yeah, I had no, but I was in because I was that like thinking about to do for the day, and your eyes are like a bit like that sort of thing. So yeah, so that was sort of like the and without going into old politics, but that was sort of like that journey, and there was some cracking people there, weren't there? You know, your Kitchens, your Gregs, all that sort of stuff, and obviously, you know, you guys and what have you. And I really do believe, because I was looking at that old like what's that guy? You know, like he has up on wall, Ant Middleton, that hat. You know what people are. There was that picture on a Twitter, and it had us all on.
Right.
And there was, yeah, from that first place, and there's some great people on there. And I was talking to somebody that will take us on to the next bit, and saying the amount of lives, young lives, going right through the ages that have been influenced for the better by this group of people in all different ways. I said it's phenomenal, and I said you'll never ever get a group of people like that in that industry, that diverse and got all different amazing skill sets and different ways of getting, you know, like things done and sorted. I said you'll never see that again. And I said I challenge you to go anywhere, and I'm sort of on the back end of that now, but I'm going to be going to it with veterans more.
Well, that's like, what we did when we were there. The task was to go into education establishments across the Northwest and take our skill sets, i.e. communication, just resilience, everything like that, and pass it on to this younger generation that generally don't get taught it anywhere.
Life skills, weren't they?
Yeah. Do you know what I watched the other last night as well?
I don't know what you watch
now.
I really did.
Yeah. I remember that when we finished, and Ironside come up and said, all right, you've got to do a little video prom. Engines were started. We were ready to get motorway to get home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was like, right, who's doing it? And it was like, I said, right, I'll do speaking. Like that. So we literally had, didn't we, like a minute and then film, but we did it, so I'm laughing at that because it's so cringy looking at it now. But hilarious.
That's funny. Yeah, promo bit. But going back to what you said, regardless if we speak to the people now, if we communicate, we don't like them, whatever, that body of people, male and female, what an incredible group, like that they just face together.
Yeah, brilliant. Really sharp. Say again.
Someone's on permanent send.
I think it's the kettle. Is it the kettle? Yes, it's a kettle. It'll be done soon. Apologies.
Oh. Have you on X,
And it's live. But yeah, again.
I've still got some legacy Exy blocks from Liverpool, from Dodgy Dave. So I've got they're all in kitchen. Remember Fire Triangle though, yeah. Stay safe, kids. Yeah.
But it was the fun, especially you and Daddy, because I'd joined this group. Obviously, Bez, you'd got the nod a little bit before me, but we've been assessed at the same time. Yeah. Dan had been there before us doing the good deed. And because the way that my career had gone, when I turned up, I was kind of looking up to you guys. And I'd say, wow, yeah, these are the business, but as well, learning from you. Yeah. And watching what you were doing. But for as serious as it was, and the group of people who were extremely good at what they were doing, boy, did we have some laughs.
Oh.
Some giggles.
The amount of cried with laughter.
Them must have clean spuds. Yeah.
I learned quickly in there that you could be at the master of innuendo and get away with it as long as you kept a serious face. which was hard because if I were working with both of you, one of you, you'd be crying in the background.
Yeah.
But I was good at keeping it serious, like with Elton John at that school near Blackburn. Remember, we watched like we watched the goal, that thing, you know, where Watford against Leicester, penalty save, Watford up with end at pitch score, and I was just like talking to Tina and I said, Elton was most pleased with that, and kids never pick up, do they? But he was crying. He was crying. You'd have to be there, Danny. I didn't get a laugh there. You'd have to be there to appreciate it. But
it's with time for you know, trying to teach the kids survival skills and stuff like that. And there was just that one kid in the front row just kept heckling me, shouting "Black Mamba, Black Mamba." What about a Yorick background going? I think his mum's been teaching him, and I was like, "Oh, shut up! No, you can't be saying that."
I remember it. And at that one in Burnley, I remember you taking a lesson at front, and I was sat next to that lad, and I'm watching him, and he takes his shoe off.
Oh yeah.
But all right, he must. You know, I thought he must be itching. He'd have an itchy foot or get a bit of air to it. We might have a blister, get a bit of fresh air, whatever. So I'm watching him out corner his eye like that, because you're watching them all, aren't you? Because they're messing about. And he goes, start sniffing his soul. I'm like, all right, we'll keep an eye on this one here. Then he licks it a little bit, like that. And I can't eat it. I said, what are you doing? I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm eating my shoe.
Yeah, pan face.
Yeah. I said, are you hungry? He said, yeah. I said, what does it taste of? He went, shoe. I said, well, can you stop doing that?
Tell you the truth.
Stop doing that, please, eating your shoe. You know what I mean? Your mum and dad have paid some brass for that. And watch the lesson. But yeah, every day crying with laughter. We used to. Every day. Gonna do. Meeting and all that. But yeah, so.
It was prominent for me as well, because I was going through my education at the time. That was my journey. But what I was learning, because I got paired up with Danny quite a bit, how to actually do a lesson in the real world, not sit down onto the tree, come back. You know, we travel around a few, and it was I'd never felt before then how, and I don't want to get too deep on it, but how the country was proud of us.
Yeah.
You never get that feeling, you know. It was only I've heard story people saying you come back, you get spat on in the street, all the rest of it, and boo, how you hated it. But how much that generation enjoyed having us around and learning from us.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
So fast forward in that. So so this is round about 2016, so pushing into 17. So I'd already started the divorce process then. We decided to call it a day. I'm not going to wait till I'm 90 and all that sort of stuff. So I got talking to Nicola again. So I haven't seen her now since back in the day.
Full circle, isn't it? Another one.
Circle. So we obviously hit it off. It's sort of like we'd never been apart, if you will. Do you know what I mean? So we end up living together. So I've moved to another company. So Dale sort of like part of this journey as well. Then this is where a bit of strange other fate comes into play. Yeah. So to get married, I needed get married in Gretna Green. So I needed a birth certificate. So rummaging round, can't find it. Everything else is coming out, you know what I mean? Whereas the income bonds cards coming out from 1970s, no birth certificate. So I applies online, fast track birth certificate. It gets back to me and they said, nah, you don't exist, mate. They said, oh, you adopted. I was like, oh, well, I'm here. It's like, am I a hologram? It's like the Matrix or something. So they said, "Are you adopted?" And I said, "Yeah." Now, when I was younger, I'd been told that my name at birth was Shane Patrick Douglas. So whenever I'd looked for anything, I always typed in Shane Patrick Douglas Huddersfield. Nothing come back. So anyway, I gets my original adoption certificate, the original birth certificate and all that. And my name is Shane Patrick Haley, right? So you know what curiosity is like? So I think, tap that in. First thing on Google, Shane Patrick Haley, birth parent, Huddersfield, 13th of July, 1945, searching. So I thought, oh, bloody hell. So I goes onto this site to get some more information. So it was clicked on it. It was like an adoption reunion search type site thing. She'd been looking for years, so that signal had always been there. But so if I'd have known my last name proper, I'd have got into it quicker. So got the address and all that. So Nick says, "Oh, we'll have a look on Facebook on Goatbook," you know what I mean? So that she come over and she went, "That's your mum." I looked at it. I went, "Oh," like that. So I thought, right, what am I going to do here? So I thought, right, I'm going to contact her straight away and pose a question. And it was nice and simple. I put, "Hello," question out of the blue sort of thing. And you were there, weren't you, on the journey?
Yeah.
Dale, and I said, does this name mean anything to you? And she said, "Yeah, it's my son." I said, "Well, I'm your son." So like we got chatting, and I found out that I had 3 sisters and a brother, and it'll get a bit even more and bizarre soon.
I'm laughing because I know. Yeah.
All my brothers and sisters had known about me, so they had a button picture on the wall, and I've got it now to change it. I'll show you the picture very quickly.
The dead working away, and he's turned round and he said, "Oh, my mum's messaging me."
Yeah.
Like, what? Yeah, I know, because obviously I've met his adoptive mum, but he's like, no.
Guess who's back?
Give me away. And she's just told me this, and this is what he goes on about now.
So they had a picture on wall right from when all the others were kids. So they always set out a place for us at Christmas and all that every year. And it had mine. They knew me as Shane, but obviously this has since been changed. So they had that on wall. If you can pick up on that. So where it says Bradley now, it said Shane. So that was always up in the front room. And my brother Will and my sister Adele had always been looking for me. Now, to the point, my sister Adele was on Come Dine With Me in Yorkshire, and she'd been on a few of the Davina McCall things. So she was even contemplating, because she did like the surprise thing, that sort of thing, didn't she? Reunited families. So she was contemplating going on that to try and find me. So unbeknown to me, my brother Will, he was in the army. And he was in Osnabrück the same time as me. He went to Iraq when I did, so we were in the same brigade, which is like a group of people. So there's a strong possibility. He was always in the NAFI, so there was a strong possibility that I'd actually either talked, because it was signals, either talked or, you know, like had some sort of engagement, because I know it was when a new radio came out, and I know that I went to the radio. There's a hen in the distance. I went to the new radio training, and I reckon he would have trained me or trained us, because we all went over to his camp. Remember when it came out? My sister in the army. She's in the army now. She's tapping on board for sergeant. She's a combat medic, but she's studying, doing all the degrees, because she wants to be she's like wants to be a full-time nurse at the Birmingham Hospital in the military. So there's that. The unbeknown to me, like going back, I had that wanted to join the army. It's like there was always a calling within that, that bloodline sort of thing. And they obviously, because I was the oldest, didn't know that I'd joined the army.
Yeah.
So my brother Will was out. He did about 10, 11 years sort of thing. But my sister's still in. And my other sister, shut up. My other sister.
Don't work with kids or animals.
Oh, we want kids, isn't it? My other sister is studying to be like a teaching assistant. And my other sister, she's just gone into rehab. She was like heavily involved in drugs and alcohol. But she's turned herself around. I got a call not so long ago, literally just before lockdown started, and she was in a bad way. She was like organs are failing, so I went early doors to Huddersfield Hospital basically to say me goodbye sort of thing. But she's turned it around, and she's she goes to rehab today, so she's off there for 6 months. But she wants, the great thing is she's honest about it. She wants to do it. She's a bit apprehensive, but a little bit like your last podcast where you've got that decision, you carry on a road, and it might, be the end sort of thing, or you make that choice that, look, right, enough stuff now. I'm mentally strong enough. I'm ready. I'm prepared. I'm going to do this. And so she's currently starting that journey today, sort of thing. So yeah, what a small world. So so the Nicola connection is obviously we know through the youth, but if I wouldn't have married Nicola, then I'd have never gone for that certificate that would have never linked me up and to like my bloodline. Mum in Harwood has met with mum in Huddersfield. Now that my mum in Harwood who brought me up adopted, that's who I refer to as my mum. So they've met, they've chatted, and what have you, and they're all mates on Goat Book and all that sort of stuff. My sisters even took around to Kentucky for my mum in Harwood, because she can't get out and about now. So they were setting off home. My mum went Kentucky, so they drove to Aki, got one, and took it over. So yeah, so all's good in the hood, sort of thing.
Do you know, you said when you were younger, when you were like 12, younger than 12, you always had felt that missing piece.
Yeah.
Is that with you now? Has that been put in your jigsaw?
Yeah, that's gone now. And Nicola picked up on it before, like we met about adoption, like me temper, that sort of stuff. Like she said, it might be something to do with adoption. You know what I mean? Have you ever talked to anyone about it? And I found that, like you touched on then, that's gone now, because I know, because there were always questions I asked myself: do I have brothers and sisters? Is mum alive? Dad alive? Or where do I come from? What's my origin, sort of thing?
So I know when you was going through that journey, there was no weirdness. It's like, because I remember you saying as well, like your sister was about to do a lesson and she was like, I need some help.
Yeah.
Can you help me? And straight away it was like that bond.
And it was, who was it? One at Max, Ginger Hair Mac, ex-Pioneer Sergeant. He was her instructor. So she were on a course.
Mark McCleary?
No. McIver, sorry, wasn't it McIver?
Oh, McIver's.
Stu.
I don't know which one it was, but and he was Adele's instructor, and then Adele went, "Oh, do you know my brother Bez?" And oh yeah, I know Bez, all that. And weird's that, but like weeks before they'd started the course, and obviously she didn't know about me, and he was just some like really good bloke, but she referred to, they're not used to it, some grumpy like colour sergeant that used to shout to them from infantry up and down hills. I said, yeah, I know him. He's one of my mates. Said, oh, he's all right. Yeah.
The journey, just again, like you said, meeting Nick at a young age, this is going to be the one that puts all your pieces together.
She makes me happy. My mum picked up on it. Like one of the first times I took her around, she said, "You seem so much calmer." And we saw like-minded, like you seen with that video, like if she was giggling, she's always giggling and she'd like making each other laugh. And she's just like, she's got her own story, but I think she's like really brave and inspirational and all that sort of stuff. And like a soulmate, we call each other little penguins. We've got like little penguin picture up and all that sort of stuff, and we just click. You know what I mean? We know she's like the calmer one, I'm more the hot-headed one, sort of thing, and we sort of like balance each other. Like really nice sort of thing. And we like Love Island, we like Ex on Beach. We like Ant the Hat and his NCO's card. So it's good in the hood, isn't it?
Have you got an avatar? Please say no.
No.
Yes.
Yes,
what is it? Why?
Oh, witchcraft.
I'd have one. I just don't know how to do it. So. Yeah.
So and she was I could do another 10 podcasts on stories and stuff, but yeah, there's just so like with Nick, there's just so many parallels always moving us together, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like with the fate thing, I'm big into like I do like numbers and working out numbers and if they mean something and you know what I mean, and yeah, it's just really straight. You couldn't keep us apart, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you have no control over it.
No, none whatsoever.
It's not. So we've been chin wagging for ages.
I know, yeah.
I just think the story is absolutely incredible, and another one people are going to relate to. Have you got any questions for us?
No, I could talk for a lot longer, but I wanted to try and keep it, just not really going in depth. But I just hope that somebody that watches out there, they can relate to it. I mean, but just understand that it's all right to talk about things. Yeah. You know what I mean? And just to have that hope, it will get better. I can't tell you when, but it will get better. If you'd have told me in 2010, that day when we Olivia and come back from Afghan to where I am now, 10 years later, I've never believed you. Do you know what I mean? At that time, that was my world, that it was imploding. Do you know what I mean? But it does get better. Time is a great healer, sort of thing. Is there anything else you want to ask me?
Yeah.
Let Danny go.
Just before you started to now, how do you feel now?
Pardon?
How do you feel now?
A lot better. It took me a long time to talk to. I mean, I've talked in depth and loosely. We used to when I worked with you about some of the subjects that I talked about, and I've talked to Nick about it and stuff. And it's good getting it. It's like a weights lifted sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Massive weight off your shoulders. And I don't think I'd have been able to talk about it on this platform maybe 5 years ago, but I've processed it, like the different things now, and it is a big weight lifted sort of thing. So anybody out there that has got, stories and stuff like that and things that have happened to them, positive, negative, whatever it is, get on here and share it, but you'll also, as an individual doing it, reap the benefits sort of thing yourselves. Do you know what I mean?
Also, especially topics such as child loss, adoption, breakdown of marriages, finding families, it's those initials, it's lots of weirdness in it.
Yeah.
being able to talk about it with other people. It's they're not taboo topics either. You know, that it's stuff that people go through.
Yeah.
More common than people know.
Humour's massive as well. Humour helps you to get, you know, to get through things. You know, it's great working with you lads because it was just like a laugh every day sort of thing. And if there were things like I was thinking about on certain days, you know, just being around people, you know, that you can talk to and have a laugh with, they can change your day. Do you know what I mean? From dipping to getting back up to where you should be, sort of thing, prevent it spiraling, sort of thing.
Was especially for me, I'll let Danny have a think, but you were inspirational to me at a certain time in my life. That I was struggling to find my own identity. And I didn't really know who I wanted to be, and different things were happening. We had a time, and you said, look, the very best need the very least. You don't need to be showering your kids with everything. You don't need the best trainers, the best Adidas Originals top. But whoever you are as a person, real recognises real. And I think the time that you told me that, we got hit, right? And I hope you know where I'm going, with a task. And the task was, go to this school, do this job. We turned up, we had nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing, just us two. And you said, look, we are the product. So as you're sparking up 3 fags at the same time, we open up the back of a van. What have we got? And like a fated beam of light, the only thing that was in the back of the van was a stack of cones and some polystyrene cups.
Yeah.
And at that moment, the greatest game on earth was born. Danny, we called it Cups and Cones.
Never.
We rolled out, sorry, well, there's a bucket as well.
Yeah, but a rusty bucket, wasn't there?
Okay, so all you had to do, you had to fill your cup up with water.
Yeah.
Put a cone on your head, put the cup in the cone, and walk in a straight line without spilling it.
They loved it.
That then built on, and I learned how to progress something from that. So we put snakes in it.
Yeah.
We did. It got as elaborate as standing in a hoop and putting it over your head.
Yeah. Rolled it everywhere. Lived off that. Could have retired on.
Yeah, we rolled it, and that message that the very best need the least helped me then, and we went on. We got published. So the camera can see it. I went on then to finish my philosophy, which I called it Sanamente, sound mind, Latin. And at the bottom there, I started writing in 2016, but you might see the bottom, the 2019 edition is copyrighted Boyd L. Beresford. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, it influenced me absolutely massively in a period of my life where I needed to mature.
I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
So
it's an absolute pleasure.
Big shout out. So I'd give a shout out to you. Anything from you, Daniel San?
Roger Beresford, this has been your life.
Have you got any shout outs, Bez?
Hang on, quick question.
Sorry, go on.
Pretty safe to catch on. Quick plug for your team. Who's your favourite ever player to wear a Rovers shirt?
Do you know what? I'll probably throw you off here a little bit. It'll be Mark Atkins. He's going right back. We signed him from Scunthorpe. He's going right back. He won a championship medal. He's an hard worker. He liked to fag, went up peps after the game. He was lucky enough to get in. Unsung hero, really. He won a Premier League medal. He scored an overhead kick against Liverpool, this lad, at Thaywood. A right grafter. And when they got them all together, that team, like on the 25th anniversary, you ask Shearer, you ask, your Sherwoods, whatever, they'll always say Mark Atkins, Colin Hendry and all that, Tim Flowers, because he was just a grafter. He was just one of them, like a gribble at football. Not much technical, so only joking, Gribbs. But he had an engine on him, and he just run everywhere. But he could play a bit as well. Whereas all the eyes were on Shearer or whatever he were doing. So yeah, my favourite player as a kid was Paul Walsh, who played for Liverpool, and the striker, blonde hair, played for Tottenham as well. He was. I liked him. That's who I wanted to be. When I was older, was Paul Walsh. He's only little as well. Oh yeah, I wanted to be him. A question. First album. So I had to think about this. You asked it me last week. It was 2, and they totally left and right. Top Gun, the album. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And Iron Maiden, Power Slave, believe it or not.
Wow.
And that had like Ace's Eye on it and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, so yeah, those was my first 2 albums. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
I'm done. I need toilet.
He needs toilet.
He's been him.
Huh?
He went before.
I had some scoff.
He's done with sure.
I went hard routine on chicken korma. Shout outs really as well. The top I'm wearing today was the last time I ever got my hands on silverware, and all 3 of us played together.
Yeah.
So unfortunately this year it's not taking place. We'll give a shout out to the Warren Wollstonecroft Cup in memory of your mate Warren.
Yeah, it's my cousin.
Organised by Ben. But unfortunately it's not taking place this year because of the Rona.
Yeah, Rona.
I'd sport this for today. A couple of others. I did a running video the other week. I had to put that on. I did ask anybody wants any shout-outs going out there. We have had some merchandise companies get in touch and want to partner with us. So I'll put the links in the descriptions, which is Fab Active Wear. They want to come on board. Or they've asked me to be a brand ambassador, but also Handmade by Tallulah. This is if you're out there on Facebook, guys, go on there. These are making the masks and the what they call the scrubs for NHS workers.
Yeah.
And providing them out there so they get a shout out. And to the lady running our media, Freya. Yeah, did something that her and her husband this week did something Danny and I could never do, which is getting us up on running on Spotify and getting us an RSS feed and all that lot. I couldn't do it, could you?
Oh, could I?
Yeah, them two were. I think we got the message at like midnight or something crazy like that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Them two have been researching and going through it all the night and got us up and running. So, yeah, you'll be on Spotify, Bez.
Yes.
Coming in people's ears.
Like Julia.
An outro to Minder.
Oh, yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Why
Go
not?
for it.
No words.
Fuck you love that tune.
Yeah, to you. I am the thing that really do. It's so good for you. And that's all we're allowed before we get sued.
Yeah. For the court case.
Yeah.
Well, absolute pleasure. If you're not already subscribed to Blackburn Rovers' finest midfielder, Two Guys podcast, just get it clicked. It's not hard. You literally don't cost you out. You don't get inundated with your junk mail. You're just subscribing and just showing your support sort of thing. So get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't shine.
Right. Stay on the line, but give everyone a wave.
Peace.
Please. And Danny will back me up. We got as special as this one was. We got a special one lined up next. So yeah, look forward to the preview because we've seen the preview and it's banging. Not as good as Banging Bites. It's banging.
That next preview sets the standard. That bar's high.
Yeah.
Very good. All will be revealed.
Keep it real. Hey, who can? Shaka can.
Nanny.